Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates. And today we're going to have a look at the potential for some very cold conditions over the next couple of weeks. Now we've already had some snowfall over the last 24-48 hours in many regions actually. Not widespread, but we've seen some quite localized significant accumulations with quite a few places seeing some falling snow as well. But it's going to be increasing the amount of snowfall around over the next couple of days, and I'm sure within the next week to 10 days, most areas will have seen some falling snow, with many of those places even seeing some accumulating snow. Now, we'll run through the current GFS run just to show it. And the thing is, in the longer run, it looks like we might be setting up a easterly and potentially a beast from the east. Now, I say that one cautiously because, it depends how you define it, but it does look like we're going to be pulling in an easterly wind towards the end of this week into next week. Now we're going to have the low pressure diving through the country. We're pulling down northerly winds with little features coming around it. We've got to watch this area of low pressure here diving down from Iceland. We could be giving some significant snowfall to the south by the end of this week is a little feature, but depending on where it exactly, what its exact track on its northern eastern edge, we're likely to see quite significant snowfall around a couple inches maybe with that. We'll have a look at the precipitation type in a minute, but that's Wednesday into Thursday, and there's already a yellow weather warning out for that. Quite widespread weather warning down in the south. It's likely to be more refined towards near the time, as we know what we're looking at with that. Beyond that, we remain quite significant northerly winds, filling in snow showers with little features enhancing that. Again, it's sort of nowcast forecasting, which is a bit frustrating, really, because it's difficult to really tell more than 24 hours in advance where snowfall is going to see. As I'm looking every single day, I go on Twitter, go on the weather models, and I'm seeing little features popping up here or there. I don't know, Tuesday morning, Thursday morning, Wednesday evening, little features coming around, potentially giving a few centimetres of snow around. And we saw that last night with that little feature that moved through in the Midlands, and I'll show that towards the end of the video, what snowfall we've had there. And we thought that snow might be coming further south and eastwards, but didn't make it that far as of yet. But it's still something you need to keep an eye on. As we move through, we maintain that sort of northerly flow, little areas low pressure moving around that. But towards the end of this week, we start to pull in an easterly wind. So now there's a little wiggle in the isobars there. That's a little feature or area of low pressure, potentially bringing some enhanced snowfall over eastern areas. And by the end of this GFS run, we're bringing a quite a strong easterly wind. Now, if we have a look at the upper airs, we're still within the -5, maybe getting out to -7, -8 degrees, not getting the -10 or maybe -15 that you would probably associate with a beast from the east. But considering it's the first week of January, we're pretty much near the weakest point for sun strength of the year. It's going to feel bitterly cold on that easterly wind, and there's even a chance that we start to bring in some even colder air down towards the end of the run. Low pressure bumping into this colder air in the south, potentially bringing enhanced snowfall in the south. Again, the upper airs are not as great on this GFS run further south, but again, it's subject to change. But towards the end of the run, the high pressure retrogresses towards Greenland, and we start to pull in a bitterly cold northerly wind. And by the end of the run, the -10 line is reaching Scotland, -15 not far away, and all we need is a slight change in the position of the high and the low, and we are pulling down a bitterly cold Arctic blast. Before the end of the run, low pressure moving in off the Atlantic again, bringing in milder air, but again, there's another area of high pressure out in the Atlantic, potentially bringing more blocking. But the one good thing we've seen before the end of this run, even though it's not pulling in a absolutely bitterly cold conditions, and it's not bringing very cold air that we could see, it is moving that cold air from Siberia more towards Greenland, Iceland, and Scandinavia. So if we do pull off that easterly or northeasterly, we are more likely to see very cold conditions. We'll now have a look at the ECMWF, see where that's showing up to date then. Showing very similar conditions, all those little features moving around. And again, towards the end, we're putting in a pretty decently bitterly cold easterly wind. Now, it's got more high pressure influence with this, so less showers, but still pretty cold air. we start to see those very cold conditions starting to flood further southwards. And what we'd hope to see over the next day or two on this ECMWF run is this moves, high pressure moves more towards what the centre of this high moves further north and further west towards Greenland, Iceland, allowing this cold air to move around and will tap into some very, very cold conditions. But regardless of where we do tap into those very cold conditions, most areas still be pretty much snow-conductive air. No, snow-conductive air, sorry. Most of the time, especially overnight, and there'll be some very cold conditions. Considering this week's going to be cold, the ground conditions are going to be very cold. So any snow falling out of the sky is likely to be sticking around, which is fairly significant. Now, if we look at the GFS upper airs precipitation, you can see the cold is repeatedly getting stronger and stronger as we move through this run. Not many precipitation signals, but again, that's the nowcast thing I've been talking about, where these precipitation signals are only cropping up, a day or so before the event. Gradually getting colder, sinking down to -7, -8 maybe degrees, 850 HPA, which is going to be giving very cold days. As we get towards maybe the 5th or 6th of January, which is around day 10, we're sort of seeing maybe a lift in temperatures, remaining below average, but we're seeing a little bit of a lift as that blocking builds in and low pressure tries to influence from the south. That could bring major snow event, or it could bring much milder air and milder conditions in general. But you can see there's some very cold ensemble members, and there's some just generally cold ensemble members, and there's around average, and then a couple going a bit above average. But again, still decent trends from the GFS ensembles, and I am seeing in some of the longer range models that they're still thinking about blocking, and then with the sudden stratospheric warming that's hopefully going to be taking place over the next week to 10 days, we could be seeing, there could be a little bit of an uplift, but I would expect it to get colder, and we're going to be probably setting up a very cold January to come. To meet the temperatures, again, these are a little bit enhanced simply because it's the GFS, which is not the most accurate for sort of short range temperatures, but it's showing around 2, 3, 4 degrees highs and around freezing to 1 degree as lows, which is pretty cold. And given snow cover or fog we've seen this morning around the south, it will be feeling very cold indeed. In the long run, even though the temperatures do increase on some of the ensemble members, and even decrease on some of the ensemble members, with one going high of -2 degrees on the 13th of January, many are remaining 3, 4 degrees above freezing, which is still pretty cold for the time. For the time of year, any time, for anywhere, for London especially. And if we have a look at the snow depth, you can see there's still quite a few snow spikes. Not a lot of precipitation around. We've got a very big, significant snow spike there, providing 5, 6, 7 inches of snow there. Very significant conditions with that little spike. But again, that just shows you what potential there is as we look further into the future. Now, these are the current weather warnings we have in place. We've got a snow and ice warning for that little feature we saw this morning. We've got a wider snow and ice warning as snow showers are going to be coming off the east coast, moving further inland and producing snow. As we look into Tuesday, that snow and ice warning is still in place. Wednesday, this small Wednesday evening, overnight into Thursday, the same weather warning. That's where that low pressure slides in off the Atlantic, sort of taking a northwest southeast alignment, potentially bringing significant snowfall in the south. So that's something we need to keep an eye on. Now, we look at the GFS precipitation charts. We can run through. You see, this is 9 a.m. on Monday. This is the 6 o'clock run. You can see that little snow feature that we saw there bringing significant snowfall in the Midlands. As it pulls away, we could be introducing some more snowfall around the southeast, maybe into London. If that moves further north, we'll see more snow in that, as the air is more snow conducive further inland. But again, it's something to keep an eye on in this area of precipitation moving in off the North Sea, potentially providing more significant snowfall through central areas, northern areas, sinking south, maybe even bringing some snow to southeastern areas potentially there, and southwestern areas. But a lot of little features moving around, and more showers coming off the North Sea. But as we move through Wednesday, overnight into Thursday, we start to see that little feature there that didn't highlight too well on this GFS run. That little feature there moved into the southwest, providing a bit of snow for the southwest. But again, very uncertain with this feature, and it could be further east and bring more snowfall to the south and the east. There's still something to keep an eye on. And as we move through, looks like we're bringing some cold and northerly winds down, with another little feature bringing more widespread snowfall for central and northern areas. And again, providing very significant conditions. As we move in towards the end of the week, this is where we start to pull in that bitterly cold easterly wind. You start to see snow showers piling in. We're showing rain here, but probably most likely to be snow showers. And you see a lot of little features moving in, and sort of maybe little streamers setting up, especially in the south and East Anglia. A lot of little white specks showing the snow showers piling into the east during next week. Maybe providing significant accumulations depending where the alignment is. And as we end this, we'll get to day 10. Just beyond day 10, you can see still a lot of snow showers around, and coming more in from a northeasterly direction. So still some very quite significant conditions with that GFS run, remaining very cold. Now we'll have a look at the GEM run. I didn't look at the GEM run on the pressure patterns, but we'll have a look at the precipitation types. As you can see, this is the midnight run from last night. You can see that little snow feature moving through. Maybe finding some snow. It moves further north with this one. Maybe finding more snow to central East Anglia areas, maybe London. And then we see that little snow feature move in from the North Sea. Finding quite a lot of snowfall there, even going into the southeast overnight into Tuesday. And as we move through, still see a few snow showers around, not as many as the GFS was showing. But as you can see, that's that little feature there. This moves further east, but not as far northwards. So we do see some significant snowfall there for southern, southwestern areas, maybe getting into the southeast. And that just shifts maybe 50 miles further north. We could be seeing quite a lot of snow for central areas as well, because the more snow conducted there will be more towards the centre of England rather than the coastal areas with this setup. As we move through, we see more little features moving down through the country, finding snowfall there for western areas, and even southern areas there onto Friday. So again, just highlights you the little features, and then a little feature moving in, like maybe a little Thames streamer moving in for London, providing more significant snowfall there. And then we start to pull in that easterly wind with more snow showers piling in from the east. It's highlighting a lot of snow showers for the southeast here, especially on the GFS run, and again on this GEM run. A lot of snow showers in the southeast, so that's something we need to keep an eye on. As even though that doesn't crop up too well on the models, in real life, sort of an easterly set up streamer on the Thames could bring significant snowfall for localised areas. Beyond that, we see another area of low pressure, significant snow for Ireland there, and again, just a lot of snow showers around as we veer towards day 10. A lot of snow showers around, so very similar picture to what the GFS was showing. Lastly, we'll have a look at the icon, which is a short range model, so it should maybe a bit more accurate, and it's showing that snow piling into further north, northern areas overnight into Tuesday. And then as we move through, we see that area of snow overnight Wednesday moving up, and again, similar track to the GM. Not as much snow on that, but again, a bit of snow on the northern edge, getting sort of the M4 London line. So maybe clipping the south there, but just depending how far north that moves. And then we've got another area of little low pressure, a little feature moving in overnight Thursday, and coming down the east coast, providing significant snowfall there. And then moving inland. That's very interesting. We didn't really see that with some of the other models. It might have been there, but not as enhanced as this icon model. And it actually spirals up a little area of low pressure. That little low pressure that dived through the south actually comes around just like a 360 and then moves back in across East Anglia, providing significant snowfall there for southeastern areas. It'll be interesting to see what the snow depth shows for that. Not too much, but again, pretty significant snowfall, especially for the icon model, a couple centimetres of snow there. And then as we end the run, just remains sort of easterly wind. So yeah, very interesting conditions for that. Lastly, we'll have a look at the weatheroutlook.com, the weatherchannel.com, And having a look at current radar, as you can see, I'm looking at London. That little feature that moved through the West Midlands earlier this morning is now moving through the south, chucking up a few bands of rain, snow into southern, southeastern areas. It's sort of spiraling around. So depending, it doesn't. Not really sure how far north it's going to get. And again, this area of rain out on the east coast is going to start to move inland as well. It's a very interesting picture. We don't quite know what's going to be happening with this, but again, that could be moving further inland. And if we roll this back and we play it, you can see that's where the snowfall is sort of petered out and has more been centered further south. And it's spiring in towards London, but we don't really know how far north it's going to get before it starts to pull out towards the ocean again. There's the future forecast, which is not as accurate, but does show it getting into London a little bit, which is interesting. Probably would be turning to snow there. Yeah, it does turn to snow later in the evening. So that's something to keep an eye on, really, with that. You just even see a few snowflakes. We haven't really seen any snow in London over the last 24 hours. And in fact, this snow overnight was actually forecast to move into London, but it never actually did, unfortunately. If we look at the temperatures, you can see widely very chilly in central areas, milder along the coast. And we've had a bit of fog over the south, that's why we're keeping temperatures low. But as you can see, where that rain is initially, it's pretty mild. But if we go to London and a bit further north, it's still quite cold. And especially as we move through the day, it gets a bit darker. Well, remember, we're at the peak of the day right now, around midday, 1 o'clock. For temperatures, but it's a very cold day generally. And if we move along, we'll have a look briefly at dew points. Dew points are widely, if it loads, widely below freezing. A bit milder along the east coast and southeast, but generally around freezing or below freezing. And now if we have a look at the past 24-hour snowfall, we can see, once it loads, is it going to load? It's stuttering here, unfortunately. I don't know what's going on with the... Okay, there we go. Just need to run it on a couple minutes there. But you can see where that rain band set up, or the snow band, sorry, set up, and you can see just a small slither of significant snowfall around the West Midlands there, and then a lot over Wales. But again, it didn't really progress further east. And then a lot of snow over the mountains as well. So again, little features like that could be finding locally significant snowfall, just like it did for the West Midlands this morning, providing a couple inches of snow. So that's very interesting to see and gives us hope for the future, really, over the next week to 10 days and beyond for seeing widespread significant snowfall, or at least most areas seeing some significant snowfall. But anyway, keep updated with my videos, keep updated with the Met Office warnings as well, so official warnings. But anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.